The algorithm's favorite ad just cost me $85 per purchase, and I just turned it off. And here's the thing that most advertisers miss. Meta will happily spend your entire budget on an ad that's working for the algorithm, but absolutely destroying your margins. We just launched 94 new ads on Friday. As a part of our systematic creative testing, I wanted to try a huge batch. Today is day 3, which if you've been following along, you know that's when I do my first real optimizations on a new batch. In a minute, I'm going to show you exactly what I do on my actual dashboard, and you can see exactly which ads I turned off, why I turned it off even though it had the most spend, aka the algorithm liked it, and the specific full funnel metrics that I use to make that call altogether. Here's what we're covering. First, how to sort and analyze a new batch launch, and when you've got dozens of ads competing for budget, sometimes it can be a little hard. Second, this is where most people get it wrong. How to read the full funnel inside of Meta's dashboard, not just the cost per purchase, because an ad can look profitable on the surface while your checkout metrics are screaming that something's actually broken. If you're running systematic creative production, whether that's 20 ads a week or 100 ads a week, you need a repeatable system to optimize them. Otherwise, you're either leaving winners to die or letting the bad ads drain your entire budget for days. All right, let me share my screen and show you exactly what I'm looking at. All right, so we're here in the campaign. We got the 2 new ad sets in here. And you can see here, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight them. These are the 2 new ones that we launched on Friday. We got the Hashiade 011 hair loss and the Hashiade 08 moms. And you can see just by coming in here, the first thing I'll do is I'll check the spend. I mean, just the fact that we launched this one on Friday, and the majority of the campaign spend went into this one, which you can see if I just go to the first few days here in December, it had no spend. All the spend was going towards this hair and energy ad set. And then we got these new ones launched. These actually have some spend on Thursday because I didn't set the timer to start on midnight properly. But all the budget was going here. And then we get the new ones launched, and within 3 days, it's now taking the most spend. And what that is telling us is the angle / persona is working. Something in there is working. Today's day 3, and day 3 is when I first go in and do my actual optimizations. And you might ask why day 3, and that's just because the algorithm needs some time to figure out how to distribute that spend and show you what it wants to push. Before day 3, you're kind of looking at a lot of noise. And I'd say after day 5 and 7, it might have been too late and you might have let a bad ad drain hundreds of dollars over the past few days. Day 3 I found is a pretty good sweet spot for your first pass. So let me show you exactly how I would sort through the 94 ads, because this was a pretty big test and idea. I wanted to give the funnel every possible awareness level or stage they might be at with a bunch of creative diversity. So I threw 50 ads into each of them. We actually hit the ad limit, so I only got 94 in there. But let's go ahead and I'll show you the actual optimization. So first thing I do, pick your time frame. I mainly optimize on 2 time frames, and that's the last 3 days and last 7 days, just because it's the most recent data. I will sometimes use past 14, so like if something has a really bad week, but the week before it was amazing, I don't want to turn that off just because it had a bad week. Sometimes I'll let it run a little bit longer. So last 3 days, we are going to sort by spend, and this will instantly show you what the algorithm is trying to push. Meta's machine learning is basically voting with your dollars, and the ads that have the most spend, those are the ones that the algorithm thinks will perform the best over time. But here's the thing most people miss. The algorithm optimizing for good delivery is not the same as the algorithm optimizing for profit. So Meta wants engagement, it wants clicks, it wants people to like the ad, and it definitely wants to spend your budget. Your job is to check whether that spend is actually turning into profitable customers or not. So by sorting by spend, it really shows you where to focus your attention first and where the algorithm is focusing its attention at. So look at this top ad right here, 257 over 3 days. And I mean, that's significant. The algorithm clearly wants to push this one hard for other people to see. But watch what happens when I look at the actual metrics. $85 cost per purchase. Our target CPA for this account is around $30, so we're almost 3 times over our target. Now, some people will say, give it more time, it's still learning, but I don't stop right here at the CPA. I look at the full funnel. Cost per initiate checkout, we're sitting at $12, which is much higher. Our benchmark right now is around 8 to 9. So even the second leading indicator, the cost per checkout, it's too expensive. This tells me that the ad isn't just not making sales. It's not even really finding people that want to convert. They're not adding to cart. They're not starting their checkout when they're actually on the website. So despite it being the algorithm's favorite ad, pushing a bunch of spend to it, it's just not hitting the KPIs that I need. So went ahead and turned it off. This one I actually turned off because I had it under maximum spend. It overspent on that first day. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that one back on. It didn't really get a fair assessment. And then let's go ahead back to our optimization time frame. So now we got the full funnel here. Let me explain why I looked at the cost per checkout and not just the cost per purchase. The cost per purchase is kind of a lagging indicator. By the time you have enough purchases to know if the ad's working, you might have spent $300, $500, or $1,000. The cost per checkout initiated is a leading indicator. You get this data a little bit faster with a little bit less spend, and it tells you about the actual quality of the traffic that you're sending and if the ad's doing its job or not. If the cost per checkout is on target but the cost per purchase is high, that's really just a landing page or offer or checkout problem. The ad itself is doing its job. If the cost per checkout's high and the cost per purchase is high, that's just a traffic quality problem altogether. The algorithm isn't putting this in front of people that are likely to convert, it seems like. And that second scenario is pretty much what we're seeing right now with this ad. The $12 cost per checkout when our target is 8 to 9. The ad is bringing in expensive and low intent traffic, and no amount of waiting to see the algorithm is going to automatically change this overnight and make it a winning ad. Now, let's look at the second highest spender here. $26 in spend, much less than the first one, but that's fine. It's only day 3. The cost per purchase is at 13 with 2 purchases, so this is pretty good. That's beating our $30 CPA target by more than 2 times. So if we go a little bit further down the funnel to our cost per checkout initiated, it's at $6.60. And like I just said, our benchmark is in that $8 to $9 range. So this is exactly where we want it. So the full funnel itself looks healthy. The leading indicators on target, and we're getting purchases profitably. This ad's going to stay on, and I want the algorithm to keep putting more budget and learning from this one. But you see the difference here? It was the same batch launched on the same day with 2 completely different decisions I'm making here based on the data. One ad gets turned off at $257 spend, and one is staying on at $26. And that's another thing you're going to have to pay attention to is we're leaving this $26 one on with a $13 cost per purchase. Meta loves to grab low-hanging fruit. So whether this ad is scalable or not, that's what really matters. We need something that can scale profitably for us. So when you turn off the top spender, the algorithm doesn't panic. It really just redistributes the money to the other things that it thinks it's going to win, and really just through everything. It throws a little bit of money at everything just to see kind of how it will work. That budget that was flowing into that $85 cost per purchase, it's now going to flow somewhere else. Hopefully towards the ads like this one with a $13 cost per purchase. And this is why batch launches with high creative volume work so well with Andromeda. You're not betting everything on one ad. You're giving it tons of options, and then you're simply pruning the bad ones so the budget will continuously flow to the good ones, and your cost per purchase, cost per checkout initiated, etc. will go down over time. Tomorrow, I'm going to check back again, see where the spend moved, and then often you'll see a new winner start to emerge, or at least a new big spender. And we're just going to pretty much wash and repeat this process, pruning, waiting, until we're narrowed down to those top performing winners. What the fuck? We launched 94 ads on Monday, and 72 hours later, we sorted by spend and cut everything that wasn't converting. That's the whole system. So let's zoom out and look at what we actually did here. We launched 94 ads on Monday. We let them run untouched for 72 hours. No peeking, no panicking, no optimizing after 4 hours like a lot of people like to do. On day 3, we sorted by spend, identified our top performers, and then analyzed them using the cost per checkout and cost per purchase as our leading indicators. We found ads that were spending and not converting. We turned them off. We found ads that were converting efficiently but not spending too much. We left them alone to take some of that budget from the ad that was turned off. That's it. That's the whole system. No complicated spreadsheets, no fancy attribution tools, just patience, the right metrics to look at, and the discipline to actually follow through with your plan. The reason this works is because you're not fighting the algorithm. You're letting it do its job and keeping it in your guardrails. Meta's system needs data to learn, and when you turn ads off after 12 hours, you're not optimizing. You're just adding more noise to the data. Stop trying to outsmart the algorithm and start building systems that let it work for you. Here's what separates advertisers who scale from advertisers who stay stuck. Most people optimize for the algorithm. They're constantly asking, what does Meta want? How do I beat the system? Wrong questions. You need to optimize for profit. The algorithm is just a tool. Your job is to feed it enough creative diversity that it can find your buyers and then get out of the way and let it work. When you launch a bunch of ads, 94 ads for us, you're not trying to find one winner. You're giving the system enough options that it can match the right message to the right person at the right time, their awareness level. That's what Andromeda does. It's not picking your best ad. It's matching creative to intent in real time across millions of users. Your only job is to give it enough ammunition and then measure what's actually making money. Stop trying to outsmart the algorithm and start building systems that let it work for you. Launch Monday, analyze Thursday, refine Friday, and the weekend runs lean. Next Monday, we have a new batch. So day 3 is done with this one. What happens on day 4 or day 5? Day 4, honestly, not much. You've already made your cuts. Now let the surviving ads kind of accumulate more data and start using some of that spend. The algorithm is reallocating the budget to what's working now. Day 5 is your next decision point. Same process, sort by spend, look at the last 3 days, 7 days, analyze the cost per checkout and cost per purchase, maybe even the add to carts and landing page views. Make cuts on anything that's spending without converting. Here's the rhythm. Launch, wait 72 hours, analyze, and then refine over the next few days. Then the following Monday, you're ready to launch another batch of creative if you want to. Fresh concepts, new hooks, different angle, different persona, whatever it might be. This isn't a one-time optimization. It's an ongoing system. The advertisers winning right now are the ones who have turned creative production and testing into a repeatable weekly process. If an ad has spent 2 to 3 times your CPA with 0 checkouts or 0 purchases, it's not going to suddenly start converting. The data is the data. Let me tell you the biggest mistake I see advertisers make with this system. They identify that an ad's not working, high spend, no conversions, and say, let me give it a few more days and see what happens. Stop. If an ad has spent 2 to 3 times your target CPA and doesn't have the conversions you're looking for, it's not going to start suddenly converting. That's not how it works. The data is the data. And an ad with 47 add to carts and 0 purchases isn't almost there. It's a dead end. The funnel is broken somewhere within that ad. Giving bad ads more time doesn't help them improve. It just burns more budget that could be going to stuff you haven't tested or your winners. Be ruthless. The whole point of this, and the whole point of me launching 94 ads, is to show you that you can cut aggressively. You have backups, you have options, you have plenty of other stuff to test. Kill what's not working and double down what is. That's the game. You can't optimize your way out of creative starvation. That's day 3 optimization, the full system. You're not launching enough creative volume to make this kind of analysis meaningful. You can't optimize your way out of creative starvation.